officially live.
Nice.
So don't say
What's up?
don't say anything too crazy.
I didn't really plan on it, to be honest with you.
Alrighty. I'll start off by saying hello. Welcome to the first episode of In Pursuit of. And today we are in pursuit of a good conversation with none other than my younger brother, the talent of the Lamb family, the crown jewel of our entire bloodline, Mr. Collin Lamb. How you doing today?
That was pretty debatable, but I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for having me on the very first episode of your new show here.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I've been sitting
It's an
around
honor.
doing nothing basically all of quarantine and just
Yeah.
decided that, it was time to start doing something. And of course, you were going to be the first guest. I mean, what better way to start off this journey with the first person that actually got to know me before anybody got to know me?
Oh yeah.
My first homie.
Even though you hated me when I first was born.
Okay, well, I feel like all kids get really like all the older kids they get jealous if they are like alone for a while because like I was with mom and dad for 4 years and then everything was peachy and cool and we had a little routine already worked out. Then all of a sudden,
But
then all of a
yeah,
sudden, somebody else is just coming into to our lives. I was a little jealous. I definitely.
oh, understandable, man. And listen, I've never heard or seen any footage of me as a child, but if the stories are true of what I was like from like the ages of 0 to 2,
Yeah.
I'd hate it too. I mean, was it constant crying and whatnot?
I mean, as far I mean, I guess what was
You
mom?
probably don't
Mom
know.
said, yeah, I don't remember much, but
Yeah.
I do remember that mom said I had asked for them to take you back to the hospital. It was like you're crying too much, and
Dude,
I
yeah.
was like, dude, this baby needs to go back to the hospital.
That's all I've ever heard is I was a cute kid, but like
Oh yeah,
for a long time
super
I
cute.
just cried. And I'm pretty sure like half our cousins hated me as well until we like figured out I was lactose intolerant.
Yeah, what a
And
crit,
they stopped giving me like milk.
dude. They used to give you so much milk too. We just drank a shit ton of milk
they
when we were growing up. I've kind of
I know
moved
I
away
hate
from
it.
that.
I like actually yeah, I hate it. I like it in like cereal and like that's really about it,
Yeah, even if I'm
to
gonna
be
put
honest.
like cream in my coffee, it's still gonna be like almond milk or oat milk or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but yeah, basically what I wanted to do with this show is just have conversations with people that I either really love or admire or think that they're doing something cool. So if you don't mind, I've actually prepared some questions that I wanted to ask you for this interview.
Oh, nice. All right.
Okay, question numero uno is what is your earliest memory of you and I?
That's a good question. I used to. I mean, obviously, I'm getting older, but I swear I used to remember a lot more. But one of the things I remember the most is I had to have been like 3 years old, maybe.
Mm.
But you remember our next door neighbors back in Boston to the right of us, where like there's that like tiny little hill, but that separated our house that I used to like play in the dirt in. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the people next door,
Are you talking
they have
about
like the
Mr. Mike?
yeah.
Yeah, shout out
That's his
Mr.
name. I was
Mike.
trying to remember his name.
Shout out Mr. Mike.
Yeah, that guy was really cool. He had like a pretty big driveway, and he had like the foundation of his house was like above ground almost.
Yeah.
So I remember we would like we would draw like a what was like a pitcher zone or like a
The
like the little
mound.
like square that you would. Yeah, we'd like do that, and we would play like one on one baseball almost like in his driveway. And I remember being really young when we did that, but that's those are probably like some of the first memories. Either that or playing like a ton of like computer games in that like extra bedroom that we had on that really old computer.
Yeah, the gateway. That
Yeah,
thing
that I
that thing was a
eventually
beast.
fried. Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like that gateway computer was like probably the nicest computer we ever had, and it was the first computer that we ever had, and we just completely ruined it.
Honestly.
I played a mad amount of backyard baseball and Age of Empires on that one.
Yeah, with the Zoo Tycoons mixed in.
Oh yeah. The best part was when
Yeah.
we got the dinosaur expansion, and you could just drop people into the T Rex, the T Rex cage, and just watch them freak out. Oh yeah, for anybody who's watching and didn't know, Colin and I both grew up in Massachusetts until what was it, like 2009?
Yeah, something like that.
Uh, I was
I
12, so
don't
let's
know.
do the math. 2007, 2007.
Oh my damn.
Yeah, we left in 2007.
So yeah, I was only you were 12, I was 8.
Uh huh.
Damn.
That year sucked, by the way.
Did it?
Yeah, dude. Okay, I thought I was if we stayed in Mass, I was gonna go to a Catholic school and lose all my friends.
Yeah.
But then mom and dad were like, "Oh, actually, we're moving, so you're not gonna have any friends." And then when we got to Illinois, Grampy died, and then Grace died.
Oh, your hamster. Dude, that sounds like a brutal year.
Uh,
Oh my god. I forgot you were going to go to Catholic school
yeah,
or I still don't know why, but I definitely forgot
they
that that
didn't
was
they didn't want me going to Marshall Simons for some reason. They're like, "You're too smart for it," and I was like, in a way, I think the move kind of saved me because I definitely would have turned into a completely different person if I had gone through uh, Catholic school. Like, jeez, I was already so not into the whole church thing
Yeah.
that
That
like,
would have been weird, yeah.
yeah, would have gotten in
I,
a lot more trouble. I think.
kind of a weird like it's a weird thing to think like your child's too good for a middle school. Like it's like just middle
Oh, I
school.
100% agree. Like, doesn't even matter at all. It'd be different if I was going to like a high school or like a college prep, whatever.
Right.
But it was middle school.
I wonder what they would have done with me because I mean you were the brains of the two of us. So I don't.
In some capacity, I
Yeah.
feel like my brain skill ceiling is really high, but you consistently perform at the uh you got a good performance. I go up and down. Like, sometimes I'm really smart, sometimes I'm probably the stupidest person. Besides those early memories, what were the things that you enjoyed the most about growing up in Massachusetts? Or I guess, like, because like those were like the best years of our childhood, like, for
Mhm.
sure. You know what I mean? Like the golden years. So, like, what in particular do you remember fondly of those times?
Of Boston.
Yeah, or of just being of that age and, like,
Yeah.
being a
I
young
think
8 year old.
the best part about being in Boston, like I think I enjoyed having like a lot of family nearby, like in like because we had Nana and Granddad, and then the other lambs. Like we did things as like a family constantly,
Yeah,
and I think those were always like fun memories because Greg's like 4 months older than me,
yeah.
so it's like having it was essentially like having a twin brother and an older brother at the same time. So like when we were all together, I felt like it was just constantly like chaotic, and we were always like getting into trouble. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Um, I also just enjoyed not having responsibilities almost. Like you can just like we just like literally just played like all day long, like 24/7 from the time we woke up to the time we went to bed. It was like I'm gonna play outside for like 6 hours, and then I'm gonna come in and play like Mario Kart or like backyard baseball or something for like another 6 hours, and then
Yeah,
go to bed and repeat. It
it,
was it was fun.
it was honestly, yeah, it was a ton of fun. It was cool, you know. I'm very fortunate that we had like I got a brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
like I've always kind of wanted a sister, but like having a brother is so sick because it's like two dumb dudes,
Oh yeah.
and we did so much dumb stuff like all the
Hmm.
time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That backyard was crazy, man.
That I do miss that a lot.
So
Like, not that our backyard here like is bad, but like
that
there's
one
so
was
much
cool,
more like
man.
there was like the character to it. There was like a hill. There was like a
That
scary swamp. Like
Yeah, yeah. Remember when I
there
would
was
tell
just
you guys that there was an alligator in the swamp?
oh my god, I thought there was all sorts of stuff back there, man. I still to this day I don't know what it leads to or what's in there, but like I
It
definitely
was it was a
remember.
reservoir. It was a trail to the reservoir.
Oh, okay.
Like it was like
Well, I
a
feel like I didn't see people walking on it ever.
no, because it was right by our house. It was like in a weird secluded, like the only people I really ever saw in the woods were like hunters. Like I
Yeah.
remember looking out and there was a dude in like a bright orange vest and I was really confused. I was like, "What's going on?"
Oh my god, I remember that. That was like right before we moved.
Yeah.
That was like one of our because you and I both had like our going away party, and then I think mom and dad threw like a big one,
Yeah.
and I think that guy was there like on the big one that mom and dad threw. Because I remember there was like guests outside, and we were all up in like my room looking out into like the forest. I remember that actually pretty vividly.
Dude, okay. Whose party had the dunk tank?
That was mine.
Okay, I got smacked in the back of the head by that dunk tank. It really hurt. I remember that was a lot of fun.
mine had mine had the dunk tank, and then it had like two like bouncy houses, and then like I don't know, they did it up, and then I remember that. Yeah, the dunk tank was super fun. Like the only time I've ever been in one.
Do you we played you and I both played a lot of sports.
Mhm.
Um cuz I mean, our parents are pretty decent athletes, both of them.
For sure.
Um I always considered you to be the better like raw athletic talent. You know what I mean? Like you could actually do things. But I always felt like I had the conceptual grasp of the games down a little bit more.
Definitely.
And I was also mad lazy. Like I would never practice the way that you practice. I was just
Yeah.
like I would go to the regular practice and then show up to the game and that's about it. But like you were the one that was always doing like drills and like going out into the yard and like doing stuff like that. And in a
Yeah.
way, I was always like, damn, that's a pretty admirable trait because it definitely propelled you to be the athlete that you are now. And for people that don't know, uh, my brother, two-time state champion,
Yeah. Mhm.
two-time state champion ultimate frisbee player, uh, absolute beast mode. He wanted
Let's
to do
go.
basketball, but he's too short.
I was yeah. That's not the only like thing that stopped me from playing basketball, but
Dude,
I
what
was I was like okay. I wasn't like I wasn't a stud by any means, but I wasn't like bad.
you were really in love with the game of basketball though.
I had some ups and downs. I had a couple of years where I like played really well, and then once high school hit, I just like I couldn't like you said earlier. It took me a long time to be able to put like sports together, and
Yeah,
like once like raw athleticism like was no longer a thing, it was like it caught up to me in a way where I was no longer like I couldn't use raw athleticism to succeed. and so
Yeah,
I think that
because
definitely caught up to me in basketball for sure.
people they had the same like raw ability that you had, but then they also had like the game knowledge of
Yeah.
basketball, and
Hmm.
like it just kind of became like you got a little outclassed. But I mean
Definitely, definitely.
that's life. You ended up transitioning really well into being an ultimate frisbee player, and going back to what you just said. What about like when did it click? You know what I'm saying? Like when did like like the game is not just about like movement, it's about like thinking, it's about looking downfield, it's about trying to create the opportunities. Like can you pinpoint the moment where like that started to click for you?
um, yeah, I definitely think for a while it came and went, and it always came when I was like forced into like a almost like a leadership role,
Mm.
because there were times in my basketball career where I'd be on like a pretty good like travel team, and I didn't have to do it all. I didn't have to I wasn't like the best player, I wasn't the leader, and I think those were times where I didn't necessarily have to like push myself to put it all together and sit the floor because I could rely on other people.
Yeah.
But then there are also times when I was like one of the better players on a team, and like the team like needed me to be that player that like saw the floor.
Yeah.
So I feel like when I had that push, it was like that's kind of when it started clicking. And then like later in high school when I was starting to play ultimate for them, I guess I don't know if the game just came more naturally or if it just like made more sense to me, but like I didn't necessarily need that kick. I didn't have to be like the best player or one of the best players in order to like put myself in a role to see everything.
Yeah.
Um, but it also helped that the high school that we went to was they had someone like Java who was like so involved with the sport, and he had like coaches and like top players like come and teach us how to play.
Yeah.
And so like getting to hear from them and like learn from them also, so that also like helps you like visualize and see the game better. So I'd say like anywhere between like my junior and senior year of high school is when I was like much more of like a student of the game
Mm.
as a player and a player, not just like one or the other.
Word. Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense. I mean, not only is like your body like when you're a junior or senior in high school like the best it's ever gonna be, like
Yeah, exactly.
as far as like ability to perform and whatever, but like you also have like mentally developed enough to where like you can see that happening. And what you said
Hmm.
is really true. You were pretty fortunate that Java really got into the like early. Like I
Yeah,
remember
definitely.
he because I ran cross country in high school for anybody who didn't know that, and he was one of my coaches my freshman year. And then there was this whole big drama because Java wanted to leave the cross country team to go and focus solely on ultimate frisbee. And I remember a lot of the coaches for cross country thought that that was really stupid. Like they would like
That's
make fun of him for like skipping practice and like doing all this stuff so he could go work on the ultimate frisbee stuff. But in the end, it seems like he might have been on the right wave.
dude created a legacy, man.
He really did, and he took a lot of the athletes from like soccer and track and cross country that were relatively alienated
Hmm.
from those other teams, and then used them to build this like super team of like cardio and like jumping athletes that
Definitely, yeah.
made the program so good.
Yeah, he definitely put his heart and he's not really involved with it anymore, but he put his like heart and soul into it when he was, and it was cool. Yeah, it was definitely, we all benefited from having someone that like passionate about it uh teach us and whatnot.
Oh my god, hold on one second, dude. I gotta crack my back. Are you wearing a Utah Jazz jersey?
Yeah, it's John Stockton
Oh, the GOAT.
throwback.
One
Yeah.
of them, at least.
a,
Out
a
of the
player
two
I
fucking white players that are good at the game, him and Larry Bird.
if
Uh,
I could like have been a good basketball player, it would have been with John Stockton's skill set.
Yeah, you definitely were that type of player. You definitely would have been
Definitely,
like a more supportive type of point guard, like
definitely.
and that's another thing I think. I'm gonna bring this up with you because it's something I've always thought about you. Is that you are a person who plays up to the competition. Like
Yeah,
if you're against someone who is like shittier than you always play shitty.
I know.
You
It sucks.
always.
I don't.
But the second that the gauntlet is thrown down and there's like more of a challenge involved, like you always decide that like you're gonna go out of your mind, and like
I know. It's like I hate that, and I've been trying to work on that because that's been a thing since like elementary school. Like it just like hasn't gone away,
what do you think that's
and it's
about?
like I don't know. Probably like some kind of internal motivation that I like struggle to find when the competition's like kind of crummy. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that's always it makes for some like really entertaining moments, but it also makes for some like really bad losses from time to time.
Yeah, because like you get blown out by somebody who you're supposed to beat, like no problem.
Yeah, exactly. But
I,
then there's a glory moment when you beat a team that you're not supposed to beat.
yeah, and I mean that always feels way better. I don't know about this because you know me, I'm a very competitive person.
Hmm.
Um, for me personally, winning never feels as good as losing feels bad. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see that.
Like
I,
it's
I I would probably have to agree with that,
like
to be honest.
I hate losing. It's not even about I want to win. Is that I
Hmm.
hate losing so much that I need to win.
Yeah,
And
I might have to actually like agree on that. I've never thought about it like that, to be honest, but I think I'd be much more upset with a bad loss than happy with a good loss or with a good win. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, 100%. And the game like it's it's any game too. It's not just like a specific game. It's not video games. It's not any specific sport. It's like there's something about losing to me, and I don't know if it's because both of our parents are just always like trying to push us athletically and competitively. But
Hmm.
like I've never really been satisfied with the win because I know that if you get a win, there's always another level that you have to get to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas if you lose, then you've been knocked down from the level that you were even supposed to be at,
Yeah.
and and it makes it like way way more hurtful. So I think whenever I compete, I'm not playing to win. I'm playing to not lose.
Yeah.
And, and like I think that is a big reason why I never like advanced past a certain point because like I've been watching the Michael Jordan documentary. I don't know if you watched.
Yeah, Last Dance.
Yeah, yeah. Have you seen all of it?
No, not all of it because I started watching it when I came back home from Iowa, so I am not like fully caught up.
Mm.
But I've seen a good like chunk of it.
Yeah, I'm on episode 6 or 7 or something.
Yeah.
But like the way like Michael had a very similar approach. Like he hates losing, but he's also playing for the win. He's not playing because he hates losing. He's like he really enjoys winning. Like winning is the best thing for him. And
Yeah.
I think that is what sets like really really good competitors apart from people who just like to play and compete. Because I feel like a lot of people fall into our category is that they just don't like to lose.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Michael's got the best of both worlds almost.
yeah, exactly. He wants to win more than anything, and he hates to lose. It's like
Yeah, exactly.
if I could really put no effort in and win, like that's an ideal situation for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's weird. The older you get, the more you think about stuff like that. I've had nothing but time, really, in this quarantine to just sit down and think about stupid stuff. It's like why I wanted to start this show. Um,
Yeah.
I guess now that you kind of you can't really play sports right now because of the quarantine because the whole virus thing. What does it
hmm
look like? What type of skills like do you want to develop? Like you're almost out of college now. Like
I know.
what's the next couple of years gonna look like for you, man?
I don't know. It's been weird because this was supposed to be, the summer where I get I get the internship that could possibly lead to like the job out of college,
Yeah.
and like, this is the year when you're going through your career fairs and stuff at school, and they're like, we're looking for juniors and seniors, and it's like, well, this was supposed to be like the year, and now, and I had interviews with, like, second interviews and third interviews with, like, at least like three different companies, um, and like all of them just postponed what they were doing and whatnot, and then the distribution center that I worked at last summer isn't you know isn't in desperate need of help right now because they distribute like restaurant supplies,
Oh,
and it's like literally the worst thing that
they could
like
have
the
been
worst thing
distributing.
that they could distribute. Like, so I was emailing them, and they're like, yeah, we don't really we don't really need the help right now, but like they're gonna let me know because like once things open back up again,
Yeah,
like they're gonna need so much help, like because people are just gonna flock to restaurants like you've never seen. So
that's true. That's true.
so I'm in this stage of, I just don't know like what's happening. I'm taking a summer, like a public speaking class through community college that starts next week, and probably gonna take some like Microsoft Excel and other like things like that. Like learn how to use those skills a little more,
Yeah.
even though I'm pretty good with them now. But that's definitely something I need to perfect for my whatever job I get in the future. So a lot of little things like that. Um, but yeah, kind of in a state of confusion right now.
Oh man, tell me about it, dude. Like it's really been it's probably the weirdest time I think I've ever been alive.
Definitely. I just for me, and I'm interested to see how you feel, but it all happened so fast. Like within a week of it
Mm-hmm.
happening, like school ended, internships ended, my frisbee season ended,
I lost my
our
job. Our
vacation
vacation
plans
ended.
ended.
Yeah.
like everything just happened like within a 1 week in like March, and it was like it all happened so fast. It was so hard to like comprehend.
But the thing is, I feel like the warning signs were there, and I
hmm
think I'm like America was pretty slow. Like we really thought that it
Definitely.
wasn't gonna hit as hard as it was gonna hit. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, I
we were like
remember
everybody's gonna have
because
some
I went to school.
sniffles, but then 100,000 people later and like whatever, like 500,000 cases later, it's like, oh,
Yeah,
yeah, maybe we
because
should have been a little more prepared.
if you I don't know if you knew this, but I went to I went to Los Angeles, um, in like the middle of February to visit Hannah, and um, at that time, like it was like, people, we knew what coronavirus was. We knew it was a thing, but like it it hadn't really. There was like a couple cases in the country, like in our country, but we
Yeah.
weren't like that scared about it yet. And and like, my roommates would be like, yo, like they're telling me like, yo, be careful in the airport and stuff, like we don't want you like bringing that home. And I was like, yeah, guys, like I don't think you have to worry about that. It's not that big, like it's not that big of a deal. I'm not gonna bring it back, like
Yeah.
all this stuff. And then like literally like a month later, like our whole lives are changed by it. But I do have to say, I was there like the middle of February, and LAX was definitely like, it was everyone seemed a little on edge even then. Like
Yeah.
it kind of like, it was like foreshadowing almost, like everyone was, you know washing their hands like super well and trying to avoid like touching
Getting
like
too close to
things.
other
And
people,
yeah, it was
stuff like
definitely
that.
like it was kind of foreshadowing like what was happening. And like looking back on it, it's like kind of creepy, but yeah.
I had a in like now that I'm in New York, um,
Oh yeah.
I had a moment like that as well. It wasn't. It was about a week before quarantine,
Hmm.
like officially started. Before they said like everybody go inside.
Yeah.
I was at work, and these two guys who worked for Con Edison, which is the power company here,
Hmm.
they came in and they were like really stressed out, and they were like they were talking about something, and then I was like, offhand, like a really stupid joke. I was like, "Are you guys worried about the Rona?" And then I swear, dude, the guy just looked at me and he was like, "You have no idea."
Dude. I have a story like kind of similar to that. I'd say during the week that everything like got canceled and whatnot, um, I'd say it was like a Thursday or Friday of the week when like school got canceled and all this stuff was going on. And I had a class on Tuesday, and literally there was no telling that like school was gonna go completely online and like all this and like lockdown was gonna happen. Like you couldn't even like predict it. Like you couldn't predict like it was gonna happen like that quickly.
Yeah.
But my professor on Tuesday of that week was telling us like he was talking like he's like we might not meet again. Like there's a good chance like we might go completely online. And everyone in the class is like looking at each other like, what is he talking about? Like we like no one thought that we were gonna like never see that class again
Mm.
and like have to do online stuff. And we were all like we didn't think he was crazy, but we were like, damn, like he really does not think we're gonna we're gonna have school for a while. And he like ended up being right. And it was just like it was nuts. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of the same situation you were in with those guys.
Yeah. I mean, people. There are definitely people that had insider information a lot sooner than it was released to everybody.
Hmm.
Obviously, because like if they had told us how bad it was going to be at like the beginning of March or end of February, which they knew
Hmm.
it was going to be like that because they were doing like weird like drills in the subways
Hmm.
in New York. They were like prepping them and like putting up like emergency stuff and like doing a bunch of weird stuff. So everybody was kind of like, what's going on with that? I feel like if they told us earlier, it would be like even more mass panic than what happened in the middle of March, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it was crazy, dude. We went to Trader Joe's like 3 weeks ago or something, and there was a line all the way around the Trader Joe's. Okay, so from the front door all the way around through the parking lot,
Hmm.
doubled around the store again, and then went into the next parking lot of like a Bob's Discount Furniture. Like legit, probably would have been a 3 or 4 hour wait in the line just to get into the store.
Yeah, that's insane.
I mean,
Oh my god, man.
but like
Mm-mm.
here, everybody pretty much is like acting like things are pretty much back to normal. Like yesterday for Memorial Day, there's tons of like cookouts, and every time I
Yeah.
ride my bike past the park, like it's full.
Yeah.
It's full. People are close to each other, and like a lot of people are not wearing uh, masks or.
That's the biggest thing too, because I had gone on a couple walks through. I was in Chicago like last weekend, and we had gone on a couple walks, and it was like some people like there were people out. And I mean Chicago has like closed like the lakefront, so you can't like ride bikes or walk on the lakefront or anything. So everyone's kind of like flocking to like the like downtown part of it.
Yeah,
But it
Millennium
blew my
Park in
blew my
place.
mind how many people like aren't wearing like masks. And it was people of like all ages. It wasn't just like people my age or your age. It was like there were like older people not wearing masks, and there were like little kids not wearing masks. And it was,
Dude, I
people
feel
really think it's like over.
I feel like the older people. are the ones that are the most pissed off about having to wear the masks.
Yeah, honestly.
Like like our age bracket, like the young people are a little more like apathetic. It's more like, yo, like whatever. I don't care if I get it, or like I don't care about wearing a
Exactly,
mask.
because most of us are gonna
Be fine.
either not even know we have it and beat it,
Yeah.
or just deal with it and beat it. So like whatever.
But like the
That's the
old
thing. I feel like the mask is like for
other
it's
people.
like a courtesy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a
100%. It's definitely for other people. Every
yeah.
time like there's when I go outside and stand on the stoop, there's like somebody in the neighborhood who just talks to everybody, and she came up and she asked me like how was I feeling about uh the whole COVID situation, and I was like, for me personally, I trust in my immune system. You know what I mean? Like even if I get it,
Yeah.
like I feel like I'm gonna be fine. But there are a lot of people who don't have that same type of like immune strength, and like that's definitely why people need to wear masks. And also, it's just like it's gonna hit us again. Like we're gonna go through a wave again, like a second wave. It's already happening in the countries that like kind of like quelled it,
Yeah.
like in Japan and Korea and other places like that. Like they're starting to hit the second wave of infection,
Yeah.
and I just don't think that the American public will self quarantine again.
No, like they they're just so bored and of it all, like
Not only
which is
that, we're
it's
all
crazy.
losing tons of money.
Yeah.
Like it's been crazy, and like I was really stupid and I didn't get on applying for the pandemic unemployment until like 3 weeks ago.
Hmm.
Um, and like man, we're everybody's kind of running out of money. Like
Yeah, for sure.
it's like we need I feel like either some type of program where everybody gets like a certain amount a month. I feel like the stimulus thing needs to happen like every month if they are going to have us like quarantine again,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
there's no way that they like the whole country can be out of work for like literally 6 months of the year.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
no, it wouldn't work.
it,
Wouldn't work at all.
I don't know, it's just crazy, man. We live in a really crazy time. 2020 has been,
Awful.
I thought it was going to be a great year, to be honest with you. I was very
Yeah.
hopeful going into 2020, but then we had Australian bushfire, Kobe fucking dies, COVID 19.
Yeah. It's nuts. There's a
uh,
lot of other like this is like a lot of celebrity deaths. Like I mean, obviously Kobe's was the biggest, but there's a lot of like musicians and like
yeah, but they're all
other like
old. Like, those people are mad old that are dying.
yeah.
And a lot of them were like rock stars and shit who used a bunch of drugs.
The Kobe thing was absolutely like insane though.
Yeah, he died
Like
before Michael Jordan died. That's crazy.
yeah, that's weird. Yeah,
He
and like
and Magic
Magic
Johnson,
Magic Johnson. Yeah,
he's
like
still alive.
probably was supposed to die. You know, he was really sick a long time ago, and Kobe like and he outlived Kobe. Like it's kind of crazy.
What do you think for you personally? What's the future look like for you, man?
Um, I don't know. I'm really hoping that I can work in the distribution center again, starting like maybe July. Even if I can get like a month in,
Yeah,
it's still like a month of pretty good pay, and it'll keep me busy for the month. I don't know, just go back to school for so far they're still doing normal classes in the fall.
mm.
We'll have to obviously wait and see. I feel like everything kind of has like a question mark on it right now, like if it's actually gonna happen or not.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. If you're talking like out of college, like what my plans are,
yeah. That's more what I
I've been
mean.
talking about. Yeah, I've been talking about. Um, there's a bunch of reasons why I'd kind of want to go to like graduate school and get my MBA, like Master's of Business, but um, the plan that I kind of want to execute and the plan that is probably more like realistic aren't necessarily like lining up.
Mm.
Meaning like if I were to do grad school, I would want to go like right after undergrad. I wouldn't really want to take like a year or two in between, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, graduate school is quite expensive, and I would obviously need help paying for it,
Yeah.
and it would take
Another three
either a
years.
couple years of of saving up to go, or finding a company that would help pay for it in like a couple years. So um, there's been talk about that for me, but talk's kind of dying down a little bit. Realistically, I can see myself getting some kind of a starter job, something in Chicagoland, just because there's a ton of jobs up my field for it.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of sick of this winter shit. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like real sick of it.
Dude,
Like going to school,
it's
going to school in the
brutal.
middle of Iowa. Like
Yeah.
those winters are so brutal.
Yeah.
Like I'm ready. I think I owe it to myself after 22 years of dealing with winter that I can move
Oh.
somewhere like warm and like and like like probably like Florida or Texas. Like those kind of seem like the two like places I'd get a job
Yeah.
where the warm weather is, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, Plus, man, you can get a nice piece of property down in Texas for half the price that we had to pay for this house when we,
Yeah,
and
well, I mean, I don't think when mom and dad decided to move to Illinois, I don't think they realized how crazy its property tax is and
yeah, it's nuts.
how
But so that's kind of the plan. Get something out of college, maybe save some cash
head down
and live at
south.
home. Yeah, live at home for a little bit.
Yeah.
If I'm still with Hannah, she's got another year and a half of college. So if I can stick around the Midwest and not be that far away from her, that would kind of be ideal.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, and then move somewhere warmer. I would even take like a Tennessee or like a North Carolina kind of like milder winter.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be 80 degrees and sunshine year round, but it could definitely be like 50 degrees being the coldest that it gets, and like maybe a day of snow if I'm unlucky.
Dude, this winter here, it was the mildest winter that I can like legit remember.
Yeah.
I don't think it got colder than like 30 degrees here.
Honestly, same for Iowa, and I think it's super funny because the year before was like the most
It was
brutal
brutal.
winter of all time.
Oh my god.
Like there were days where with the wind chill it was negative 45.
Yeah, it was that day was crazy. The negative 50 day.
Yeah.
I would step outside on
Mm-hmm.
on my back porch and like I could like feel how cold my lungs were. I was like breathing in like the coldest air in the world. I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah. And I was like, that was Hannah's like first winter in Iowa, so it's like welcome to college, welcome to Iowa. You get negative, like there was like probably 3 weeks straight where it didn't get above 0 degrees, and then like it was just nuts. And then this time she got the internship out in LA, so she's like, "Hi, I'm avoiding the super cold winter," and then it ended up being like very mild, like yeah, it was cold, but it wasn't like it was like mid 30s, upper 30s, like on its coldest days. It was like, oof. Yeah, but those are kind of what I think the future is gonna hold here.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of
To be
hard
honest.
to really speculate on anything now, and I think that's what a lot of people are having some major issues with. Like it definitely put a lot of people's plans on hold, like I feel like a lot of people are going to have to make some on the fly adjustments to their lives
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
and the choices that, you know, it just kind of it's really weird, man. I don't really know what the future's looking like and I think that's also like really really anxiety inducing for a lot of people. It's like because like I feel like everybody before this had a semi idea of like what their future was going to look like or like they could like guess what it was gonna look like. But
Yeah.
now it's like, how long is the virus even gonna be like around for? How long is it gonna take for a vaccine to come out? How are they gonna make everybody take a vaccine? Like, are you gonna need to get one before you can go back to work or school or anything like that? Where's the money gonna go? Because the economy is just
Yeah,
taking
for
a
real.
nosedive right now.
Honestly,
All small businesses are starting to fail. Like, it's really crazy,
it is, man. It
dude.
really is. So much uncertainty
And
in the
then
world.
on top of that, you have the people who the pandemic folk. You know what I'm talking about? Like the people that were like, but they're pointing. Everybody is so weird because everybody's pointing like different fingers. It's like, oh, this was the United States' fault. Like they're intentionally doing this so that like the big corps have all the money and can buy up all the land and the businesses, or they're like, it was China's plan all along to send the virus to just tank our economy. Um, I, there's just so many things. This like the craziest one is like when the vaccine comes out, it's gonna have microchips in it.
Oh my god, man.
Yeah, and that we're gonna be tracked. And then
Yo, people really believe this too. That's like the craziest thing.
yeah, I mean
Like
that's
shit can't just happen, man. Everything's got to have like. There's people who think everything's got to happen like for a reason. It's weird.
and I think we both know that sometimes things happen for no reason at all.
Yeah. I mean that's my take on the situation. Is shit just happened. Like, man, like no one planned this.
Yeah.
Like, does it benefit some people more than others? Yeah, but
Yes.
like, I don't think anyone could plan and execute this kind of sabotage on humanity, man.
Yeah. 100%. And that's where like I think a lot of people lose sight of things. Like me personally, I'm really into UFO stuff. I'm really into like looking at cover-ups by various intelligence agencies over the world. But
Mm-hmm.
there's always the people who are in those groups that like I'm communicating with or getting information from that will take it too far.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like everybody forgets that like inherently human beings are like really dumb and that we don't really plan things that well, or like
Right.
everybody's kind of just like doing whatever. Like they actually really don't have any idea what's going on, and I think that's actually what the virus is showing, is
Mm.
that like a lot of people actually, at the top of the chain, like literally didn't know what was going on. They're just kind of like winging it the whole time. And when
Yeah,
you wing it from the top and then you can't wing it from the top anymore, then there's going to be just like a collapse going downwards where everything is just, it's the same way.
for sure.
This whole thing has made me just be like, yo, like we really do live in some crazy like game. We live in a crazy game. The money game is really nuts,
Mm.
and I cannot believe that we are still allowing people to amass single entities. Like one person has more money than like some countries have, and everybody's just like okay with it.
That man's on track to be the first trillionaire. Did you see that?
Trillion,
Yeah.
a
Did you see that?
$1 trillion. I did see
Yeah.
that. It's crazy. His
Well,
his personal net worth is more than a lot of countries.
mm,
And there are people who will just is like he definitely deserved all that money. It's like what one person deserves $1 trillion? Like
is he the is he the richest yet, or
yeah,
is
yeah, he definitely is. And
are
and
you?
I
What
guarantee
about
you,
that one that one king from back in the day? My roommate was telling me about this.
what, Warren Buffett?
No, no, no. Like a legitimate king from from Africa. I swear I saw he was the richest man. But
Oh,
like obviously his money had to be like, you know, like accounted for in today's dollars, but I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
You
of
know what
all
I'm talking about?
time. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That dude, but wasn't he like an ancient figure?
Yeah, yeah, no, this is
He
a
had like a
long
shit
time
ton of
ago.
gold and he would like build a bunch of libraries and universities everywhere he went.
Yeah, and he my roommate was telling me he fucked up Greece's economy because he bought too much shit from Greece where the money like the inflation like was so high that it like just ruined like Greece's economy, so he had to like sell shit back to Greece that he bought. I swear. It's like man,
I know who
I
you're
forget
talking
the name.
about. I forget his name too, but
I
I
forget
do
the
know who
name.
you're talking about. I think today Jeff Bezos probably has a little bit more power than that guy does.
And that's like nuts to think about.
Because like the thing that's crazy to me that I don't like the most about Jeff Bezos is that he controls his like mailing system, like the Amazon delivery system, is more efficient than FedEx. It's more efficient than the postal service, the actual United States postal service. Like they can control like how goods are shipped, like the distribution of them. Like this
Yeah.
microphone that I'm using right now, I bought like 2 weeks ago, and my headphones came in like within like a couple days, but the microphone itself like took a really long time to actually ship out.
Yeah. That's yeah, because I was talking with someone and they're like, or it was with Hannah because we have like it's like our 3 years of dating is coming up soon, and so we're like we're ordering like gifts or whatnot,
Mm-mm.
and I'm like I just want to make like I hope my gift comes, and she's like why wouldn't it be here on time, and I'm like I know people who've been waiting like a month to get a product, and then there's some people who get their product in like 3 days,
Yeah.
even if they both have like Amazon Prime, it's like it's crazy craziness.
Um, I'm gonna look at my notebook here really quick and get
Yeah,
back
you
on
got any?
track to the. We kind of just went on a massive tangent.
Yeah, we did.
Um,
It's all right though. Give the
yeah,
people what they
yeah,
want.
exactly. Just
Can you check to see how many people are watching this?
I'm like kind of scared because I'm doing this all off my laptop,
Yeah.
and
Oh, so you don't.
I feel like if I like minimize it, like it's gonna get. Oh, I can check on my phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
I mean, it's going on YouTube too. You said right?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
People can go back and watch it.
it'll go on YouTube in a couple days. I'll download it from my Twitch channel.
Yeah.
Um, we got 2 live viewers right now.
Yo.
My friend Beck checked in. Hello, Beck. I'm sorry if I missed your comment. I just checked on my phone. Um, okay, back to what one of the questions I wanted to ask you, and I think I've asked you this before in person, but I don't know if your stance on it has changed. Um, feel like out of the four of us, mom, dad, you, me, uh, you can like they took us to church literally every week, right? I feel like you were the one that connected to it the most, but you are also the one that was the least vocal about it. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you still like believe? Do you still pray? Like, has your opinions on that type of thing changed as you got older, or as the world changed around you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the last time like either of our parents have gone
Yeah.
like when it wasn't Easter or like Christmas.
Mm.
We're kind of like the family's kind of turned into like a holiday, like church family now.
Yeah,
When
which was
like
so
you said,
funny
we used
because
to
they
wear.
they used to like wag their finger at those people. They're like, I never want to be a creaster, but
Yeah,
now
and
they've
now
become the
now we're
creaster.
now we're here. um, and it's been increasingly hard for me to go to like go to um churches because like the usual day would be Sunday, but I have practice every Sunday from 10 to noon, like 10 a.m. to noon or 9 to 11, like so which are usually like during the hours and whatnot, and with schoolwork and like other work, it's just been like it's kind of hard to make like the weekdays.
Mm.
So I honestly I haven't been on my own in a long time.
But do you?
I'd say my.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
Go
off. What were
ahead.
you saying?
No, no, you're good. Go ahead.
Um, but do you still feel like you have that relationship with that like spiritual power? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I feel like my life isn't like insane enough to really like determine. I don't think anything in my life has happened where I've like questioned why it happened to me
Yeah,
necessarily.
yeah,
Um, I do kind of believe like everything happens for a reason, and like maybe there's something that points you to saying yes to something or doing something or choosing something.
yeah,
I guess like I'm more of a believer in that, and I wouldn't be like opposed to the idea that there's like maybe a force behind like what's happening to
yeah,
you.
yeah.
But I definitely not as religious as I once was. I'm I don't pray consistently, and I don't really pray for my like I used to pray for myself and others, and now the only time I'll really say anything is if like someone I know like needs it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
I'd say that that's probably like the only time I would sit down and say a prayer. Um, but definitely much more removed than what I used to be. That's for sure.
Word.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
hmm
State of the world and everything, which is
I
weird
think
though.
everyone in our family is kind of like that at this point, though. You know,
Yeah,
I guess you wouldn't know, but
it's weird for me because I've moved. Actually, the older I get, the more I don't think of like Christian God. You know,
hmm
like big man, sky, big man.
yeah,
But I think of like what you were saying. There does seem to be some type of force that is beyond the world that we live in that probably governs the way like karma and like spiritual energies and stuff like that.
definitely.
I feel like that stuff is like very very real, but
hmm
I also feel like human beings interpretation of it is a little bit skewed and like definitely more human focused than like universally focused.
Definitely, yeah. I'd agree with that for sure.
All right, that realization was like a couple years ago for me personally. I
hmm
don't know how much people know, but like recently I've been really into taking uh acid, dog. It's been great. The first time, I mean, cuz you know me, I've struggled with pretty bad like emotional bouts, you know. I feel like my emotions are really hot or cold.
yeah,
And I took it for the first time in 2017, and it like really really opened up my perception of like what I was, like who I was, and like all this other stuff. I remember like really crying, like crying at the bean, like
like
the sculpture. Yeah, yeah. I took it and I went to the art institute, and then it got really overwhelming in there after a couple hours. So I decided to we left,
hmm
and I remember looking at the bean, and I saw this little girl just put her like little tiny hand up on the on the reflect on her own reflection, and I just
yeah,
for some reason, man, it just triggered something, and I just started crying. And after that
interesting.
day, like, I still get like pretty depressed. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's never been down to like the low lows that like I was hitting when I was like 16 through 21
Yeah,
ish. You know, I feel like that was probably the worst. College, that first year at college like sunk me into like the weirdest depression that I don't know why. I just
yeah.
didn't know how to get out of it. Like I didn't know what was going on. I kind of lost my passion. I definitely think now in hindsight, going to school for video was probably a bad idea for me
Yeah.
personally.
Definitely, yeah.
I
Could
think
be
I think I probably would have been better suited in the sciences.
like something to do with biology or
Yeah,
entomology or
yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of my true talents lie.
Hmm.
But like what you were saying, and now me being like what 3 years out of school, it's like it's hard to get back into it. I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
I don't know what path I would take. I'll probably just open up a business or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Work at a pet store that sells specifically like arachnids and insects and whatnot.
Be cool. I feel like there's a lot of different avenues you can reach. A lot of online things, a lot of community things. I definitely get it. Like you don't necessarily want to be a 25-year-old, going back to like
Yeah,
a
get my
full on college
undergraduate.
campus. Yeah, with a bunch of dumb
Like
18 to
18-year-olds.
21
Yep.
year olds. Not that they would really know that you're 21 or how old you are, because like some people, there's some 20-year-olds that look way older than
That's
20
true.
years old.
That's true.
But it's just like you don't necessarily want to be with a bunch of dumb like 18, 19-year olds.
But I feel like if
But
I went back now, it wouldn't be. I would like pay very little attention to my classmates
yeah,
outside of like group projects or whatever, like research or whatever. It's
yeah.
like I don't know the whole like
That's
go.
the thing too. Like if you went to school somewhere in like where you are now, like New York, you can do your schoolwork, but then you can still like you can have your friends that you don't have in school, and you have Zoe and John. Like you could separate the two pretty easily if you needed to or wanted to.
Yeah, and
So
the whole like going off to college at 18 thing is like really kind of weird actually.
like, yeah, it definitely can. It's not for everyone, that's for sure.
I think if I could go back, I would wait like 2 years. I had
Yeah.
no idea what I was doing. at,
Right. Yeah.
at 18, I had no idea what I wanted to be. Everybody just told me that I should go, so I was like, yo, I like doing, I've been doing
I feel
video
like
in high
that's
school for 4 years, so I might as well
that's
just do that
definitely
in
a
college.
product of our high school, though.
Yeah, it felt very
You know what I mean?
machine, like it felt like
Yeah.
a factory. Like, you were just churned out to be like this contributor to the economy after.
Yeah. Honestly.
But I don't know. Life's weird. Everybody has different paths. I don't. My path just became 300 times more clouded.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
you know.
No one. You and a lot of other people. That's for sure.
How do you feel about the different? Actually, here's one question for you first, and then I have a couple that'll branch off of that. Do you feel more connected to the millennials, or do you feel more connected to Gen Z? Because you and I are two people who are kind of right smack in the middle of that.
That is a good question. Hmm. I would kind of need like examples of how each of them think. You know what I mean? Like,
From what
like.
I've observed, it
Mhm.
seems that Gen Z is they're on the inside they seem a little bit more tolerant, but they also are a little bit more traditional. Like I was talking to this kid that I worked with when I first moved here. He was probably like
Mhm.
20 or something, and he said that he was one of the only people in his friend group that like smoked weed. And like I feel like Gen Z is a little bit more conservative when it comes to like the substances that they intake in and like the type of lifestyle that they choose to lead. Whereas
Yeah.
the millennials are like, they want to project this image of like being like a tolerant and like progressive like group of people, but also on the inside, I feel like they're a lot meaner, and they go a little bit more wild. Like in that sense, I definitely relate a little bit more to the millennials. Like we're a lot more experimental, I guess, with like what we're willing to like try and like do. Like I feel
Yeah.
like Gen Z is more in the line of like they can see what happened to us ahead of them and what the world's like, and they're like
Yeah.
all preparing for like they don't want to end up like us. Basically, they don't want to be all broke fucking baristas and have no money and like addicted to something. Everybody I know, like in my age bracket, is literally addicted to something. Whether it be weed,
Yeah.
whether it be alcohol, whether it be painkillers, gaming, eating, something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like everybody in my age bracket has some type of like substance or like control issue that is some type of weird generational thing. But also, I like the way that Gen Z approaches things. They're very open to
Yeah.
to trying new things. They're very adaptable, like in a way that we're not. Like it was like when they got their iPads when they were 3 years old, it like mega charged their brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So, with all of that in mind, I'd probably have to say I'd relate more to like the Gen Z type of people, and I think a lot of that has to do with like who I've been surrounded by
Yeah,
in in college for one thing.
yeah,
I think just like you said, I don't have like a lot of friends that are like like a traditional like millennial college person. Like I don't know if any my roommates aren't like addicted to a jewel, or like they don't
yeah,
smoke a lot, or
yeah.
they don't have like they don't, and a lot of them like, and this is kind of how I am too, like we have our views, our like our beliefs, our opinions. I don't think anyone that I'm really like surrounded with like feels the need to have to like overly express it, if that makes sense.
Yes,
But
yes.
they definitely like have, like, I think they believe a lot of the things that the millennials believe,
But they're
with like
not
maybe a mixture of, but they don't feel like they have to like
scream it from the
explain it.
rooftop. Yeah.
Yeah, like that, because that's kind of how I feel.
Word.
That's kind of how I am as a person. So I'd have to say Gen Z probably.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that for you, and I think that's a really poignant observation and something that I've observed as well. Is that Gen Z and millennials kind of hold the same core beliefs,
Hmm.
but the Zoomers are much more. They keep it inside. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or like they're
definitely.
not like very outwardly expressive of what they believe in.
Like
Or
we'll express it if like if we need to, if we think it like if we think it really would make an impact, like we probably wouldn't hold everything in, but we definitely don't express it at the rate that like someone who's a little older than us or older than me would.
even older than me.
But
Like
yeah,
the people
yeah,
who talk the most shit are like at this point between the ages of like 28 and like 35.
yeah,
Like
definitely.
you know what I'm saying? Like the people that like
Hmm.
would really classify as like the caricature of a millennial are probably now like
Yeah,
28 to 35 range.
I definitely agree with that
Um,
for sure.
because like I caught literally like smack in the middle, and like I don't know, it's weird, man. All I can say though is that I think that the baby boomers definitely need to let go of the reins a little bit and
Oh, for sure.
let the other people kind of move in because their time in the sun is has long been up.
The boomers, bro.
They okay, boomer. They're stupid as
What is
hell,
the
man.
Yeah. All right. Well, what is the generation like
In
below
between,
Gen Z? No, below. Is there one
no,
below Gen Z?
they're like on the way. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. I think the tail half of Gen Z
the
is also
TikTok,
kind of dumb as shit.
the
Yeah.
TikTokers.
That's kind of what popped into my head when you were asked, like when I was trying to decide between Gen Z and millennial. It was like,
Yeah,
am I like the TikTok like fashion, like interesting fashion, like interesting hair? Like I had like an image of like what a Gen Z would look like, and I was like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
really I don't look like that or act like that, but like at the same time, I also didn't think I looked or acted like
Go
a
millennial.
stereotypical millennial
Yeah,
either. So I was like, I don't know.
I mean they're just really broad terms that people will throw Like
Yeah.
a lot of it definitely. I think where you and I come into the mix is that like the TikTokers, they didn't grow up in a time where like Apple wasn't the biggest company. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's the real tipping point. Is as soon as like Apple hit like the big mainstream and like everybody had an iPod or iTouch, iPhone, all that stuff. Like, and they had it since they were like 2 years old.
Yeah, that's definitely the thing. I was definitely one of the last, like, my generation, my age group's definitely one of the last like groups where, it was. I wouldn't say it was 100% normal to not have an iPhone by the time you got or by the time you got to high school, but like,
Yeah,
you know, like nowadays, I feel like the TikTok ones are like, most of them probably had an iPhone when they were in fourth or fifth grade, and like, they've been using like that kind of technology for years now.
in a way, it like kind of stunted. Like I feel like I have a hard time talking to the TikTok generation, but like in a different way than I have a hard time talking to like uh, a boomer per se.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Like there seems to be some type of weird social disconnect with the TikToks because like all of their existence basically is online. You know what I mean? All their friends are in their Discord chat. They all have the fucking light up keyboards and their gaming racing. You know what I mean? Those like RX racing
Oh
chairs
yeah,
that they're sitting in, and like
yeah.
they like grew up with all that stuff. But they like can relate to me on the social issues. They can relate to me on like the technology issues. Whereas I feel like the older you go, it's much harder to relate on like social and like personal beliefs. You know?
Definitely, yeah,
I don't know.
for sure. No, I agree. Definitely agree with that.
Mm, I guess before we wrap this up, let's bring it all the way let's bring it all the way back to I think I'm just gonna tell you what I appreciate about you and like why I wanted you to be the first guest. I really appreciate the fact that like when you put your mind to something, you do it. You're a very kind person. Like I've really never seen you so mad at someone that you'll like badmouth them. Like it's happened so few times that I can probably like I don't know the people, but I can probably count on my one hand the amount of people that you've like shit talked to me directly. It's probably like 3 or 4 people, and dude, you're just you're hardworking. You're a really nice guy, and you're always down for whatever. That's what I like about you the most too. Is like kind of a very go with the flow type of guy. You don't like really fight against the flow of life, and like that's something that is
Damn, man,
very admirable.
that's the best attitude to have, man. That's you'd be surprised how many like memories and like things you can experience and learn if you just like learn to say yes to some things, and you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like, it's so nice to just do things and have, even if it's a good story or a bad story or good advice or bad advice, it's just cool to have. That's kind of my attitude towards things.
nice man.
Yeah,
Say yes to the universe, and it'll take care of you, basically.
honestly, for sure.
Well, do you have anything you want to say before we go?
Nah, I don't think so. I hope this was a good first episode.
I think so.
Um,
There's really no pressure. We're just like definitely I'm gonna go back and watch it and try and get a little bit more of a structure to the show going.
yeah,
But like I really just
um,
needed somebody that I was comfortable talking with to get it kicked off.
yeah, definitely. I mean, if you want, I'll come back too. I mean,
Oh,
I
yes.
can't see myself being too busy, to be honest. If you ever need someone to talk to for another episode.
Ugh.
I'll
Well,
probably be here.
I hope so. I really hope so. Well, I guess I'll really end it with telling you I love you very much, and you know, first friend,
Yeah,
last friend, we'll be together all the way to the fucking end of time. You're just gonna
yes,
have
sir,
to
bro.
help me string myself along towards the finish line.
Yeah, I got you, bro.
Thank you, Colin. All
No
right,
problem, dog. I love you too, man.
I love you, man. Have a good rest of your day. Okay.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, guys. That is the first episode of the show here. It's coming in a little under what I would have wanted, but you know, beggars cannot be choosers. I hope everybody had a very decent time watching this. Hope it was interesting, and yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.